Part two is, again, the power in naming and renaming. So we talked about this a little bit with Adam and the identity lost and won in the garden, right? There's like, that was the beginning of this epidemic of the identity crisis, was in the Garden of Eden. But you know what's really crazy is the wilderness that Jesus went through was actually the redemption of that story. So think about this. Adam and Eve, this is, guys know the story. Jesus, he's about to go into his ministry. He's about to begin his ministry. He's baptized by John the Baptizer, comes out of the water. The heavens open up and he hears the voice of his father say, the Holy Spirit descends on him like a dove. And he hears the voice of his father say, "This is my beloved son in whom I'm well pleased." Immediately after, the Holy Spirit draws Jesus into the wilderness where he'll be tested for 40 days with fasting before he begins his ministry. This is what's so crazy. Jesus passed a test in the wilderness that Adam and Eve could not pass in the garden. I want you to see the picture here. Adam and Eve failed the test of their identity in the garden, and Jesus passed that test in a wilderness. Think about this. Adam and Eve in a place where they were prospering with God, where they lacked nothing. They were tricked to give away their identity to the devil. And Jesus goes into a place that's desolate, where there is no fruit, where there is no food, where in the garden, God said to Adam and Eve, have whatever you want, eat whatever you want. And in the wilderness, God, by the Spirit, tells Jesus, you will not eat anything for 40 days. And what is the thing that Jesus enters into the wilderness with? He enters the wilderness with two different things at the same time. One is the Holy Spirit, and the second is an identity. He goes into the wilderness with the Holy Spirit and this identity of being the Son of God. And what does Satan tempt Jesus with when he's in the wilderness? Tell me, what does he tempt Jesus with when he's in the wilderness?
All kinds of things of the world.
Yeah, but
he tells him, jump off and your angels will catch you. He says, point at those rocks and turn them into bread because you can eat them. What else? There's a couple other things.
He says, if you worship me, I'll give you all the kingdoms of the earth.
He takes him up and he's like, all this stuff, I'll give this all to you. Yeah.
Yep. So those are the practical things. Now that is the price that Satan is offering Jesus for the reduction of his identity. But that's not really what Satan's attacking.
Wait a second.
What is the phrase that Satan says before he offers him the price? If Satan is the manipulative haggler that we see in Proverbs, what is Satan testing? I'll tell you. He says, if you are the Son of God, turn these stones into bread. If you are the Son of God, hurl yourself off of this thing. You see what he did? He came after his identity.
Wow.
Isn't that wild? And he passed the test. He passed the test. It's the same exact test. Satan offers, he says to Adam and Eve, or really, again, to Eve specifically, he says, if you really want to be a child of God, if you really want to be like God, do this. He does the same thing. But Jesus passes the test and says, no, I know who I am.
Wow.
Because it's not, you can't give me this. You can't offer me this. This didn't come from you. And I know how valuable this is. I heard it straight from my Father. He passed the test, and then what happens after that test? It says that the Father sends the angels to minister to Jesus. Bro, that's what's crazy. Jesus demonstrated for us the power of holding on to that identity, right? Of that name. Let's go through some patterns of renaming in the Bible too. Because here's what's cool, is the devil might have given you a name in this season, but Jesus wants to give you your new name. Abram to Abraham. Do you remember what Abram means? Abram means father. Abraham means father of many. So God promises Abraham, I'm going to make you a father of many descendants. That's when his name shifted to Abraham. So his name change represented a promise of what God would do in his life.
Wow.
Isn't that cool? Sarai becomes Sarah. Sarah actually, you know what? Let's look at what Sarah means. I want to make sure I get this right. What does Sarai to Sarah mean?
Hey, entrepreneur, just give me 1 second. Most entrepreneurs don't realize that they're only one algorithm update away from completely becoming irrelevant to their audience. And the only thing that protects you and me long-term is a bulletproof personal brand. I've helped business owners build brands that not only scale their revenue, but actually outlast trends. And after studying the most influential entrepreneurs on the planet, I've discovered 14 undeniable laws that every elite leader must follow to stay profitable and visible in the AI age. So I put all of them in a free guide called the 14 Undeniable Laws of a Personal Brand, and you can download it now at capchatfield.com/undeniable. QR codes on the screen, links down below. Go get it now. And if you want, follow the instructions after to take the next step to have me and my team follow up with you and help you build that brand. Again, capchatfield.com/undeniable, links down below.
Interesting. Sarai means my princess, and Sarai was Abram's wife. My princess, the possessive form my implies limitation, a princess belonging to one family or tribe. Sarah means princess or noblewoman in a universal sense, not my princess, but a princess of nations.
Wow.
So it's a similar sort of
Yeah.
right? But what's the identity? It's a royal identity. It's so sick. Jacob is then changed into Israel. Okay, let's look at Jacob to Israel. Jacob to Israel. Why is God doing all these name changes for people? Jacob means heel grabber, supplanter, or deceiver. You remember the story of Jacob deceiving his father for Esau's blessing?
Yeah.
So he was a deceiver,
Wow.
right? What a terrible identity to have. Can I tell you something? Maybe you have an identity of like being someone who does shady deals. Maybe you have an identity of being an adulterer, of someone who's never faithful to one person. Maybe you have an identity of being someone who sabotages relationships because you're so fearful of the relationship going right, and then that person stabbing you in the back, so you stab them in the back first so that they never stab you in the back and you have to feel the hurt of that. Has that been your identity? Have you had the identity of being someone who always quits? You never actually complete anything that you begin. Hello.
Wow.
This is what's so cool is that moves from Jacob, the heel grabber, the manipulator, to Israel, the one who contends with God, who wrestles with God. This isn't wrestling against God.
Yeah.
It's wrestling with God. Somebody who actually fights with God for the promise of God. You're not this is crazy. This is so crazy. I never realized this. Because when Jacob, he had to manipulate his father to take a blessing that never belonged to him. There is actually a redemptive quality in Jacob in that moment. What was the redemptive quality? That this guy was a perseverer. This guy would not relent until he was blessed. Can I tell you something? That's a good quality to God. Jesus marveled at people's faith when people came from distant lands or pushed through crowds or even refused to take rejection from Jesus so they could receive their blessing, such as the Samaritan woman who's like, I need you to heal my daughter or deliver her. And he's like, hey, this is only for the children of Israel. And then he said that the bread is not fit for dogs. The bread of deliverance is not fit for dogs. It's only fit for the children of Israel. What was Jesus doing? He was calling her a dog. He was testing her own identity.
Wow.
And she said, but master, isn't the dog even able to eat the bread from the breadcrumbs from the ground at the master's table? And he says, I like you. Your daughter is healed at this very hour. That is, but what was it? It was a persistence. It's like, I am not going to settle because I know who you are and I know what your word says, and I'm not going to relent. I'm holding on to this promise. So that's a quality. And so what the devil did was he took that quality and he perverted it Because what the devil wants you to believe is that if somebody else has your blessing, that you can't be blessed.
If you enjoyed that clip and you want to watch another video like it, you can just click right over here. Or if you want to see my other channel, Directed Life, full-length interviews and really deep conversations, you can click over here.